Welcome back to the rest of the story. Now, I've had some people asking to do a video about the Gator. Well, the Gator has actually just gotten back. It's been gone for about a week and a half. Had some work done to it. We'll discuss that a little bit here. But it is an 825i. We've had it for, a couple years now. It's been a very reliable machine. We upgraded from a Kawasaki Mule, an 08 Kawasaki diesel Mule, to this. Big difference in horsepower, speed. This is a gas as opposed to a diesel. So going down the road, it is a little bit nicer. It's not governed out at 25 miles an hour like the Mule was. And one thing that sets this machine apart from most other Gators that you see around the country, I mean, you do see some other ones with them, but it's not very common to see the cabs. And that was one of the specific options that my dad had asked for, because with weather in southwest Wisconsin, it gets very cold, very hot, which when it's hot in the summer, we don't take the doors off. We just open up the rear window, then we'll actually open up the front window here. It's just got two handles and it folds up. It allows enough air going through that keeps you from getting roasted out of the cab, because with all that glass, it does heat up. But one thing that we have noticed since getting this machine is that it seems like we're running it majority of the time in cooler conditions and rainy conditions, where the cab has actually paid for itself 10 times over. We have gone through and we put on the additional lights, the aux beam bar on the front, and these aren't aux beams, they're actually just regular LEDs that Dad got at the local farm store. So we did have some issues with the engine. That's why, let's say that's half of the reason why it was at the dealer. It needed, I'll tell you what was wrong with it. The problem we had is that when it was going, when we would go to start it, it would have a hard time starting. It's not like we had never had an issue where it just flat out wouldn't start, but it was just really hard starting, where it would just seem like it would crank forever once the engine was warm to actually get turned over. Well, we took it to the dealership and told them just to go through and just get it figured out for us. So what they ended up doing is, in the fuel tank at the intake for the line, as it's pulling fuel in, there's actually a small screen about the size of a quarter, and that was actually plugged full of just foreign material, debris. I mean, try as we might trying to keep crud out of our gas, until we had the fuel tank there, which we gotta get a inline fuel filter on it. But we were buying a lot of gas from the local gas station with 5-gallon containers. So you do tend to pick up a little bit more material, more crud, carrying it in the back of the truck and transferring it back and forth. So that was full of crud, let's just say. And their cure for that, which it hasn't just been our machine, but John Deere's had an issue with those screens, and their cure for that is to remove them altogether. So you take that out. It's not creating a high pressure situation, because that's what it was doing. It was actually pressurizing the fuel line on the high end. I think it only requires 55 psi, and the tech that looked at it said that it was pegging out his gauge, and his gauge went to 65. So fuel pressure wasn't an issue, which on a gas machine, having too much fuel pressure is actually a hindrance, because what they figure what happened, other than the fact that that fuel line was plugged, the injectors in turn were actually leaking. Even when you're just turning the key and not trying to start it, when that fuel pump is running and it's applying fuel to the line, what it ended up doing is all the the injectors, I guess all three of them, all had a slight leak to them, which they accredited to the fact that that's why we were having a hard time starting it. It was trying to burn off that extra fuel. Like, even once you got it going, it would be rough running for a few minutes. And they said it was that extra gas it was trying to work out of the system, because it was trying to push more through than what it needed. So that was the big issue. The second issue is, it's not an issue, it's a good issue. But when we knew we were going to take it up and have it worked on, because we use this thing an awful lot when it's colder out, it's cooler out, Dad actually decided to go through and he found a third-party heater for the Gator. He found it online somewhere. I guess it's out of Minnesota, but it's a blower system that is actually going to help us stay warm in the winter, because from doing chores and checking cattle, and then we do run the dogs 1 to 2 times a day, just because, you know, everybody needs exercise. So it does have like your standard, the light's going to sit there, temperature gauge, so you can control how warm you want it to be, and then it does have a blower setting. I do not have any experience running this yet. I'll probably do an update video going forward here, because literally the dealership just dropped it off. This is exactly where they parked it. But the goal is that with it being run into the heating line, is run it off of the radiator. Let me go back here. I went over a spot. There's actually an inline thermostat that they added for that blower. So to keep the heater to, how I want to say this, to get the heater to heat up as fast as possible, there's an inline thermostat that bypasses the radiator. So the coolant is going from the motor and it's going right into the in-cab heater. So that gets you warmed up, gets the cab heated up that much faster, as opposed to waiting for the whole system to warm up. And that's what this piece is right here. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. Unfortunately, it's a good bad thing. More good than I'd say bad. But we're going into Christmas here. I mean, I think Christmas is a week away. No, it's less than a week away. And they're calling for 50-degree temperatures this weekend. Doesn't really bother me that much, because mild temperatures, you know, makes winter seem that much shorter, that much easier to get through. But just means we won't be utilizing this to its fullest extent just yet. But we have been getting down the last week or so, when we didn't quite have this, have it back yet. We had single-digit temperatures. So I'm looking forward to actually being able to run this and not freeze ourselves out in the winter. Because even with a cab, I mean, this thing, it's an ice box in here. So you can hear the blower running. Multi-directional vents for each rider, which is pretty nice. You already got your complimentary cup holders. And then the really nice thing is your window vent. So it's blowing some of that warm air under your windows, keeps your windows from freezing up. So I shut the key off, and that's all I got for the Gator, guys. I know a lot of people I've been asked quite a bit here lately to talk about the Gator, and I guess it's one of those things where if you guys want to know a little bit more about some of the stuff around here, you just have to ask, and I'll try to get a video made on them. But I've been doing the rest of the story long enough now that seems like I've gone over enough of the stuff that I forget that I got new subscribers that might want a refresher course and everything that's going on around here. So with that, I'm gonna go probably haul some manure, which will probably be tomorrow's video. So Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Take it easy. Keep in touch. I'll talk to you guys later.